it talks about this internal market forces. We talked about the population, innovation, invention, external shocks that comes from outside, wars, disasters, policy levers like the policies, taxes, trade policies, monetary policies. These affect the macro economy as a whole, and it generates the outcome and the jobs and the prices and the growth and the international balances. So these are more like outcomes. Okay. Now we continue on this chapter. It talks about stable or unstable. And here we've got the central concern of macroeconomics theory is whether the internal forces of the marketplace will generate desired outcomes. So can we conclude that what happens in the internal forces, like the population, people invest and they make and they invent and they produce, do these people, do these factors or forces will be able to affect the macroeconomy to create jobs by themselves? Now, if you look at this classic theory or self-adjusting theory, this was before the 1930s. And according to this classic view, they said that economy will self-adjust. Now, these classic theories, they will say for a problem like, let's say, government employees are not getting salaries. The classical theorists will say, fire them. Government employees they don't have salaries. It's been 8 months and we don't have any salaries for these people. Well, fire them. Why do you need them in the first place? If these people are government employees, then maybe you need to start to do re-engineering, and you as a government needs to start to think like a business. Okay, and remember, these people, they think the government shouldn't have Ministry of Electricity. This electricity, it should be completely shut out. So maybe you can take this Ministry of Electricity and sell it to the private sector, like privatization. Okay, they highly believe in privatization. And then these people, if they are good electricians, they will work in the local private companies. If you are not good electrician, then absolutely you have no job. If you are, let's say, working in, Tel Yemen, which is government agency, you're generating income, and therefore the government will keep you. These people are paid, actually. If you go to the Ministry of Telecommunication, all people there are paid. Yemen Mobile employees are paid. They're also government employees, but they're still paid these days. Why? Because they generate a value. So the market forces will say, okay, you're a government employee, you generate value, we can generate income because of your work, therefore we will pay you. And that's what is happening. And then we start to look at some jobs that only the government do, like tax collectors. Now, tax collectors, these people make more money in third world developed countries because, if you work in a tax authority in a highly developed country where, there is not strong rule of law, monitoring and evaluation, then you can easily, be corrupt because you believe that, why should they collect the money for a bigger corrupted, agency? And then you start to look at jobs like the people who control the roads. Now, the people who controls the roads, say, Murur. Now, these people, we should pay them because they organize the society, and the society should pay, for this to be, so maybe the government needs to keep these jobs. You can't fire these people because it will be chaos. The people who collect garbage, remember when they decided we will not work? The government has to find a way because these people collect the garbage. Now, if you're an employee in some government position that has no value or you're not increasing much, then these people all should be fired. Now, if they're fired, then they go, either they find another job, go get training and build some skills, and then just find a job. And the people here, they will say it's self-adjust. So the economy will self-adjust. If you are an individual in the economy, and you go to the market and you say, I want a job. The classic theory says everyone who needs a job will get a job. You just accept the price. The only problem people don't have jobs is that people don't want to accept the price. Okay? Now, because if you look at the jobs, there is jobs that will pay you $1 a day. Okay? How many people if they are, they can find a job for $1 a day now. $1 a day. Now, how many people in Yemen do you think they will not be able to find a job $1 a day? How many people they will not find a chance? Zero. Everyone can find a job that will give them $1 a day. 350 riyal. You know what? Some of these people who go and beg, if you tell them come and work for 300 and you clean this whole yard, they tell you, you know what? It's a Friday morning. I find 10 times this in the, 50 minutes working next to a mosque. You want me to work 4 hours for this job? No way. Do you see? These are the beggars in this country. Now, if you look at this $1 a day, this is like above the poverty line in many other countries in the world, according to some United Nations reports. There are a lot of countries where people absolutely cannot find this $1 a day. So here, if you think about it, it's a matter of price. How much are you willing to work for cheap price? So the classic theory says, if you want a job, you will get it. You just don't be picky and don't start to put your conditions on what salary you want to accept. But if you go and you work hard, and from the sweat of your, you can get some income that is going to maybe fulfill or help you, work and add to the economy. And the more skills and knowledge that you have, and as you become more expert and you start to develop your ability to work, then you will be able to go through the ladder and maybe move from a job to a better and increase. So these people says, you know what, it's not the government job to create jobs. So that was the self-adjusting. This is what these people thought. And this was the idea before the 1930. Do you see? So what do you think happened after the 1930? Now let's see, before we go and after the 1930, the cornerstone of this classic theory was flexible wages and flexible prices. You see? So as long as you have flexible wages, people are willing and flexible to take whatever wage available, people will find a job. No one is going to be unemployed. Do you think in Yemen they have like 60% unemployment? No, it's just 60% of the people, they don't want to go and work. If you want to sit at home and you don't want to go find a job, you're not in the unemployment rate in the first place. But if you are actively looking for a job, then you should be flexible in whatever wage available. You guys know, like people in Germany, if you don't have a job in Germany, then you go to the government and you record you are unemployed. Now the government will give you a job. Now you have to take the job. If you say no to the job, then the government will not pay you. You see? So this idea of, okay, we're going to create jobs and you have to take these jobs. You can't tell me your conditions of the jobs that you want. You see? Now, and also the idea of flexible prices. Now, the idea of flexible prices is, there is always, the idea of flexible prices is that flexible prices virtually guarantee that all output could be sold. Flexible prices says that if I am, they say here, what should I invest in this country? There is no jobs. And then someone says, go farm. And then, I'm going to farm and I will work very hard, but no one is going to buy, if I start to do, I am going to work as a barber. And there's not a lot of customers. Now, the flexible prices says, let's say you are a barber, and you work, and you want the customer to pay you 1,000 riyal per haircut. Customers will not come to you. But if you do it for 20 riyal, maybe you'll get more customers. Do you see? So here is the idea of flexible prices. Are we willing, for the same work that I do, is to get a lower fee or lower wage or lower... so if we can do this flexibly, then everything we produce, it will be sold. That's the idea of the classic theorists. They said, as long as we have flexible prices and flexible wages, then all the people will have jobs, and any output you make, it will find a market. How many people agree with the classic theory? How many people disagree with the classic theory? Now let's see where the classic theory failed. And before we move that, no one would lose a job because of a weak consumer demand. Now this is the idea of the classic economists. They says no one will lose your job because there is weak customer demand. You just need to lower your prices and it will work. What do you think, Asma? Are you in agreement with the classic theory or are you in your rejection? I see you're laughing, you and Ijlal. What's going on? No? Now let's see, here we've got this idea of flexible wages. They would ensure that everyone who wants a job will have a job. Do you guys agree to this? Let's see, someone would like to tell me, their opinion so far, or because I see some people that are confused. Some people, they raise their hand, they agree with the classic, and then they raise their hand that they disagree with the classic. Anyone would like to say anything? Let's see, anyone who's lost, raise your hand so I repeat what I just said.
Excuse me, the classic is the ones before the 1930?
That's the idea, was before the 1930. So far, we are before 1930. This was the idea. Classic theory, wages flexible, prices flexible, everyone can get a job, just accept the going wage. And if you are making something, just accept the market price and sell it for that price.
And also the currency was valuable. So
here it's not about, this is not about the currency and the international
they
trade.
paid well.
Now here it's not about the international currency. It's about, you want to get a job, you will go and you will be able to find a job, you will work as a farmer, and you are going to make mangoes, and you will be able to sell these mangoes, and you will get some income. Okay? Now this was the idea. You don't have a job, go grow mangoes. When you make the mangoes, you sell them. If you tell me there is no customer, sell it cheap, you will find a customer.
Who will provide the money?
Huh? Well, go find any, now hold on, go find any job with any farmer, let's say a big farmer, tell them I will work. They will tell you, we will pay you $1 a day. If that's the market price, you accept. You got a job. Now this is what the classic economist says. Okay? So let's see let's just continue, okay?
I think most of the people today accepted this classical...
Yeah, the classic theory becomes very evident in Yemen now. Because, some people, they don't have a job, so what do they do? Now, let's say maybe you can ask, this has been like a study with, I've worked on this study with the UN, one of the UN agencies, and they started to look into, let's see, 8 months, people no jobs. What do these people do? No salaries. Now, they started to say, these people, they found one of the 3 options, or let's say 4 options. Yeah, some people, you don't have a salary, first month, second month, third month. Number 1, they go after social support. So here they will go and talk to their, friends and family. They will call their, friend in, Sweden. You have to send us and support us. So here they've got the social support. Now the other category of people, the people who had some savings. So here they had some gold they sold, they had a land they sold, they had a car they sold, they have got some money in the bank, so they went to use. So here they've got their own financial security. So social, financial. Now a third type was this human, they call it the human capital. They have knowledge and skills. They transfer it from wherever they work, they transfer it somewhere else. So they take this knowledge and expertise, and then they go and find a new job. So they go, work in this, solar panels. They take it, they go buy batteries and sell them. They go work, If you see the street, let's say Hadda Street, you see a lot of businesses closed, and then on the next day there's a new business opening. Okay? Because the economy changed. Right? You see a lot of restaurants opened. You see a lot of, Mu'assal and Shisha, and they're opening everywhere. You see now there are some of these businesses that has to do with the power, electricity, and the solutions. They're like everywhere. So here we see people, they take their previous skills and then they transfer them. So here we've got this idea of flexible wages will ensure everyone who wants a job will have a job. You see? Now let's continue the discussion and see, where maybe you are not maybe you don't believe in the classic theory.
We are not classic pro.
Now let's see where did I reach to?
You need to read
My
the
mouse.
license.
Huh? Do what?
Yeah. I mean, you've got
The license is expired.
the Windows
Huh?
license. Yes.
Oh, this is
Windows
my
license.
Windows license. I don't know, even though this is original Windows, but
If it's a $60,
well, I bought the Lenovo and it was with Windows.
okay, so it's not original.
I bought it from Lenovo.
Now, it's need to be updated.
Oh, well, I think it doesn't work.
All right. Now let's see. Now let's look at this says law. Okay, anyone have heard of says law? Let's see what says law says. Says law says that supply creates its own demand. So you just go supply anything, and your supply will create its own demand. Don't worry. You just supply. Make mangoes, someone's going to buy it. Do anything, and someone's going to buy it. That says law. Unsold goods will ultimately be sold when buyers and sellers find an acceptable price. Make sense? Makes sense. Now, says law says in the labor market, some people will be unemployed, but they can find a new job if they are willing to accept lower wages. Okay?
Same concept in classic.
Yeah, he is the classic guy. According to this classic economist, government intervention in the self-adjusting macroeconomy is unnecessary. So if you are Ben Haptor, according to says law, you don't have to do anything, don't worry. Okay? Just keep the things that you are working on and the economy will work.
This is what happened during the last year.
And that's what they've been doing. Maybe they follow says law. Very classic theorists. Now we see the Keynesian Revolution. Okay? Now the Keynesian Revolution is what happened after the 1930s. So let's see what Keynes and his gangs decided or discovered. They said that the Great Depression was a stunning blow to the classic economists.
Yeah, right.
Okay? They said because of the Great Depression, when it happened and everything fell and it was like very bad, and then they started to see, where is the self-adjusting? Is this going to solve itself by itself? Where is this unnecessarily role of government? And then we started to see John Maynard Keynes, who provided an alternative to the classic theory. And he argued that the Great Depression was not a unique event. Because some people says the Great Depression is something else. Okay? The main theory is still there, true. But the Great Depression is very unique. Don't talk to us. It's al-udwan. It's a one unique, it's the war. Don't talk to us. Okay? Everything else, such as Paris. Okay? This is a unique case. So Keynes, he says, no, this is not a unique case. Okay? And he started, it would reoccur if we rely on the market to self-adjust continued. Okay? So here we've got this idea of now it will not self-adjust. And the no self-adjust theory. The Keynes, he asserted that the private economy is inherently unstable. So if you let the economy by itself work, it is unstable. So that's that is the main idea of Keynes. That market itself is not very stable. People will not adjust by themselves. And businesses are what they call inherently. Do you know what we mean by inherently? Like it is in their DNA. You look at businesses, they are unstable. They're not stable. Remember, people, they are greed. People find better jobs. You look at businesses, farmers, they want to maximize their profit. People want to go to be monopoly. People want to do monopolistic competition. just like 2 weeks ago, there was, anyone have heard جمعية حماية المستهلك? And then there's the Ministry of Trade. And then there was this report that was like stunning. I was like very surprised. The amount of counterfeit we have here in the Yemeni market. You see? And you want to have paid attention? Like, there was talking about this amount of counterfeit. You know what's counterfeit? Mzawar. Fake. You go and you buy a needle, and it looks like a perfect needle, but it is a fake perfect needle. You see? Nescafe, did you see the Nescafe? It is an absolute fake. So here we started to see some of these products. They are fake, counterfeit. People make money out of this. And that is why the economy and the private economy is in the DNA unstable. People are cheating, follow unethical practices, try to maximize their own profits. Employees, they will take every single advantage to quit, find an opportunity, cheat on their employers, change the rules. Do you see? So that is Keynes. He says, people are stupid and lazy, and businesses are, they would like to rip off every opportunity. They're very bad, capitalists. Therefore, they make the economy very unstable. So, this inherent instability of the marketplace require government intervention. So, what is Keynes' main idea? Government should interfere. Government should not let alone. The government has to stop. جمعية حماية المستهلك has to work. Government has to monitor prices. They should go and close those bakeries that cheat on prices. Go get these money exchangers who play with the currency, put them to jail. Go and control that. You see, so the government has to intervene. You cannot let it, just continue without control. If you don't control the currency and go after it, will go very bad. If you don't go and control the market, we will start to see this counterfeit, everywhere. You guys remember, like now, anyone have heard of our conference that we did in January?
Yes.
How many people attended? Oh, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here in LIU, and it's part of the MBA program, maybe the people who attended can tell you, we have a periodical conference. We call it Market Research Need Conference. And in January, we did our third conference. The next conference, you are all invited. It is actually for you, MBA students, the conference. And the reason we do this conference is because we want to invite the businesses to bring in their problems so that MBA students, they can work on their master's theses on projects that is related to the market. Now, one of the people who came in was the guy from Sharaf Alkibsi. And he talked about this smuggling. You know what's smuggling? There's a lot of, now with the war, there is no security. And the security for trade is almost, zero. If not zero, the amount of opportunities are big. So this is the case study. The case study says, people in Dubai, they go get cigarettes, and the cigarette pack, it is for 90 Yemeni riyal equivalent, and they make their profits. It costs 70 riyal in Dubai. You convert that in dollars after you, and then they sell it for 90 riyals, and then they smuggle it from Dubai to Yemen, and they can sell it for maybe 120 riyal. And you have seen those cigarettes for 120 riyal?
Yes.
So 120 riyal, that's like a great price for people in Yemen, because you know how much is like the cheapest cigarette in Yemen? It's like 200. Why is it 200 in Yemen? If you go to this Sharaf Alkibsi, Kamaran people, it costs them really 70 riyal, and they can sell it for 90 or 120. But why they sell it for 250 riyal in the market? Because they have to pay taxes. 5 riyal go to Jamiat al-Saratan, 5 riyal to the Wazat Shabab, 5 riyal goes to Jam'iyyat al-Yatim, 5 riyal for education. Ministry of, I don't know, tourism wants 5 riyal. So there is like a 150 riyal, it goes taxes. And this is like taxes, not even government taxes. Not to talk about the government tax. There are also these, they call it the funds that they have to pay. Okay? So here, this money, it goes to these people. Now, these people, when they smuggle, they don't have to pay these. It is 3 billion riyal per month that these funds are losing because of this smuggling. Do you see? So here it says, government has to control this. Now, if you look at this control of this, you go and you dig these. It's a truck. It comes from Al-Wadi'a, and then it goes through. Now, some of these points, they go to some of these security points, and they say, okay, what you have? We've got cigarettes. Then, by law, these people, if you're the security guard, you have to take them to the tax authority, and they have to pay the taxes, and then get the sticker, and then sell it. But because there is no law, and this is like, there is no security, these people, they come in, they say, hey, I have cigarettes, this is 4 million riyal. You take my truck, and you secure it all the way to Sana'a. And then the people who work there like guards, they become guards for the truck, for 400, they make profit of 400 million riyal. So if they pay 1% to the guards, they take care of it all the way to Sana'a. So here it becomes like the government, you have to have the security to make sure that, these trucks are not coming in. This way we still have the money that goes into these funds. Because now you see the people with cancer, they don't have, they don't get the 5 riyal that they used to get every day because of this, security. So here it is inherent instability. It requires government intervention. So for this, in order to solve it, you need government intervention. And you guys know in economics, and it's like political economics, what is the definition of government? Authority, power, setting policy. What's the government? What makes a government a government? What? Lawmakers. Now, the basic definition and the principles of like economics and politics, a government is some agency that has a monopoly of violence. Do you understand what's violence? So if you have a monopoly of violence, you become a government. So for the government intervention is you use your monopoly of violence, you control it, these people cannot get in cigarettes unless they pay these taxes. You see? So if you can't do that, you're no longer monopolizing violence. And if you can't monopolize violence, then you don't become a government. Do you see? So here, this government intervention has to go through this monopoly of violence. Policy levers, they were both effective and necessary. So these government policies are important. Are you guys okay so far? So you understand this new, Keynesian theorists?
Yeah.
They said government should control, and you can't let businesses alone because, businesses by themselves, they are, they're bad. They want to smuggle, and not only they will smuggle, they will actually pay the government guards to be their own protectors. And any influence on macro outcomes must transmit through supply and demand. Now here we're changing the topic. Okay, so we finished Keynesian. Now we're moving to aggregate supply and aggregate demand. Let's see.